prosecutor, Joe Maggetti, who wrapped up a short time ago with a powerful finish. And Susan, we're welcoming back our defense attorney, Jeff Gold. Jeff, let's get to that finish, because that's what you want to leave the jury with, and it's what they're thinking about right now after just hearing a short time ago. And let me rephrase what happened. As he wrapped up, and he talked about two themes to finish up: the sexual predatory profile, that Jerry Sandusky was provided with a pool of the most vulnerable kids looking for a father figure. You're going right to the heart of the jury at that point, aren't you?
Absolutely, Mike. And he said that he basically held the souls of these victims in his pocket. I think he was saying to this jury, I'm their guardian angel. They have been damaged, probably irreparably, but you can't go and call them liars. You can't do that. It was a very, very powerful closing. Even reading the closing, it touched me. Mm-hmm. It was incredible. I think that that closing may have cinched the case for the Commonwealth.
Well, and let's talk about the last word that he had, very dramatic, as he addressed the jury through most of his closing, then walked behind Jerry Sandusky and said, I want to get the quotes right, he knows he did it, you know he did it, the kids can't get their souls back, find him guilty on all counts.
Let me tell you, that sells here in central Pennsylvania. And I'm going to tell you another thing, too. What do you do if you're the juror here? You're going to go home after hearing those 10 victims, 8 who testified that they were raped by Jerry Sandusky. Didn't want to testify because of the humiliation of it. These are boys, after all. And then on top of that, they come here, they testify, and without much cause at all, you're simply going to let him off the hook and acquit. How do you sleep with yourself if you're a juror? That's what Maggetti was trying to say to them, and I think he did a fantastic job.
So in the first part of the prosecutor's closing, he went to deconstruct the defense. And let's hit on the defense a little bit. Joe Amendola, again, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Why did it take these victims so long to come forward? They're out for money, was his point. Mike McQuarrie's story is not credible. It's inconsistent, all of that. Who do you think won the day as they go back and forth, and a jury is sitting right now thinking over those points?
I think the Commonwealth won. I think Maggetti was masterful. I think he took the defense closing and vanquished it. The reality is, he said their defense doesn't add up. Their defense doesn't make sense. He said, in essence, the defense is just trying to fool you with smoke and mirrors, and I think he did a fabulous job of it.
Yeah, and hitting on some of the other points, and I think he went common sense on two themes. One, he hit on showering with boys, because Joe Amendola called a witness, Dick Anderson, who's a coach, who said, yeah, we've showered with boys. But Maggetti, it seemed like, again, almost to the jury, like, wait a minute. To be in a shower with a kid is one thing, but then to soap them up and hug them, and those kind of, that's just common sense. Absolutely. Would you do that? Would you let your kid go through something like that?
I think he did. What we talked about last hour is that Amendola had bits and pieces, okay, and that's what Maggetti hit on. Yeah, he said this about this witness, this about that witness, but it doesn't add up to a conspiracy. To think that would be to fool you, and that's powerful.
Amendola, as he wrapped up his close, he told the jury, and almost like trying to blunt the blow, he told them, the prosecutor's going to bring you to tears. Is that effective? Because Joe Maggetti might have brought some of those jurors to tears.
I will tell you that our producer that was in the courtroom read to me what he said, and I had tears listening to the producer. When that happens, to that jury, that was 10 times more powerful. 10 times more powerful. It's something to behold. I think that Maggetti has done a fantastic job. All along, I thought he was extremely good, but this shows he was masterful.
Well, let's take the folks inside a jury room right now. All right, you hear these closings. Now you have the case. What's the first thing often a jury will do? Well, the first chance they've had to talk about it, did they air out some feelings? Where do they go right after?
Well, they do all different kinds of things, and lawyers are always telling you can't figure out what a jury's going to do, but they have a lot of charges that they're getting from the judge now that explains the law, so they need to educate themselves. So sometimes they start with looking at the law itself and what they need to find. Sometimes they start talking about it right to the core, so there's no method to it, about the way jurors do, but what they're thinking about now is, can I acquit and live with myself? And that's what Maggetti did. He talked about the souls of these victims as if they were in his pocket.
Right.
He was their protector. That is powerful stuff, and I think that's going to stick. It's going to stick tonight. If they stay here, it's going to stick tomorrow. As much as that slapping noise stuck for all these years in McCleary's mind, the slapping, that statement by McGettigan about the souls in his pockets is going to stay in the jury's mind. That's my thought.
So they just cannot get their childhood back. That's the way he wrapped up.
Yeah.
Jeff, again, great analysis. We appreciate it.